Most of the time, stories about travel, discovery, and character development manage to leave a lasting impression on me. However, today I want to focus on a specific type in that category. Stories that span a long time, necessitating a protagonist with an extended lifespan, like an elf. Nope, not this one. I mean, Sasson Frerin is great and all, but it's not the main target of today's video. It's rather something quite similar to it though. About a year ago, I stumbled on this manga. Hold on, I know, the name screams Runaway, it's one of those. But just as much as the name tricks you, this manga does more if you read it without any prior info, expecting an average, easygoing fantasy manga to chill and spend time with. And before we start, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and are interested in similar content. So, without any further ado, let's open the box.
Bah.
The start of this manga is very chill, wholesome, and optimistic, as Aesir, a high elf, embarks on a journey after taking it slow, very slow actually, deep in the forest for 120 years, a measly fraction of time to him, a being that lives for more than 1,000 years in a physical form and eternity in a spiritual form, as if to symbolize his self-reliance. A bag of food, bow and arrows, and a stone knife are all that Aesir takes with him, leaving the forest feeling alive more than ever, faced with an endless world fitting for his endless life. Bro, you need cash to get into the city? Well, for an endless world with endless life, you'd need shit ton of money. Oh, have I mentioned that this is an isekai manga? Well, it is, but it didn't have to be one. The narrative would remain unchanged even if the MC were a normal high elf and not a reincarnated one. But I guess the author really needed a reason for the MC to have an eccentric perspective in this fantasy world. Yes, the MC is eccentric in this world, but regardless of how peculiar he may seem to others, his primary desire is to explore new experiences, whether it's delving into blacksmithing, honing swordsmanship, or mastering sorcery, activities that the other elves either disdain or disregard because they have spirits communing. Aesir still engages in them to quench his thirst for novel encounters and deeper connections with those around him. He spends a decade in one place and two in another like they are simply months to him. This causes the story to have a lot of time skips, making the readers feel like they've also been reading for a long time. I wouldn't want it any other way either. It's perfect pacing for a high elf, perfect for an eternal being. At the core of the story, we have Aesir interacting with different races and cultures, some who live longer than others, or differently than others, with a never-ending pursuit of what life tastes like here and there, getting into fistfights in taverns, stopping wars by creating mountains, all kinds of food, spirit communing, friendship, mentorship, fatherhood, all of which Aesir indulges in while outliving everyone else around him, like a guardian that watches and observes, but also lives. While Aesir travels from town to town, country to another, we learn more about him, the principles he abides by, the thoughts that go behind each decision from him, making the journey extremely immersive for the readers. And what makes that immersion deeper and entrancing are the characters. A story about journeying calls for different and new people to meet as the protagonists advance with their lives. And of course, this manga is no exception. So I'll be talking about some of the most impactful characters on the story and me, starting with Erina, the elf who guides Aesir when he first spreads his wings and leaves the nest. A wholesome person that I kinda perceived as the mother figure for Aesir, no matter how young she looks. As an adventurer, she knows how the world works, and even after she seeks help from the only mighty high elf she knows when the calamity of slavery befalls her kind, she stands firm and proceeds to become a pivotal character as a mediator for peace between humans and elves, but not at the expense of the well-being and interests of her people. Aesir learns a lot from her determination and selflessness, but not only that. He sees how she, as an elf, loses important people whose lifespan is much shorter than hers, and thus he prepares himself for his turn. totally aware of what's awaiting him. Oh yeah, by the way, Aesir just causes an earthquake in some parts of the country responsible for the atrocities on the elves, making them shit their pants when thinking what they messed with. Yes, he's hella strong, but this doesn't stop him from seeking expertise in other fields that require masters to learn from. In blacksmithing, he meets Asphalt, the rock monster dwarf that Aesir highly respects as a master and a dear friend. Their meeting is something that later on influences the course of the story and world events, as Asphalt promises to make the country of dwarves become welcoming of elves. If I had to put his personality into words, it would be wholesome but proud, a man who keeps his word and holds friendship up there as one of his most valued attachments in life. And just like Irina, I couldn't help but see him as a father figure for Aesir. And as much as Asphalt is a friend and a master to Aesir, so is Kaushman, the sorcerer who finds mutual respect with Aesir, as their shared goal of creating a magic weapon unites their minds and souls, making them take each other as a master and apprentice at the same time. Aesir learns from Kaushman sorcery, while the latter learns from the MC blacksmithing. Seeing them act like boys will be boys is so wholesome and refreshing. It's like seeing a coder and an engineer combine their efforts to build an Iron Man suit or something. They exude the vibes of brothers to me, but parting ways with Kaushman was always inevitable, as Aesir needs to adopt a half-elf child, Wyn, an adorable child born from the tragedy of slavery. This meeting carries with it a lot of emotions, expectations and fears about the future, where outliving the beloved ones is inevitable, as Aesir takes care of Wyn, knowing he's going to see Wyn die before he does. However, Aesir stays determined to face that unchanging reality head-on and holds responsibility towards others. Fatherhood is new to him, but seeing this adorable creature, no one can resist. Outliving others isn't something that should hinder us from living with them. Aesir knows that cherishing every moment with them and crying after losing them is far better than living in solitude. Friendship, mentorship, brotherhood, fatherhood, and more. This story keeps touching various aspects of life and social connections, tapping into other dimensions of Aesir's character, cementing his human side in our mind, reminding us of how relatable he is to us, just on a way stretched scale. Yet, that scale is often forgotten when reading the story and following it through Aesir's perspective. You'd read 10 chapters and feel like you went through 100, not in quantity, but more in regard to events and time. No matter how much the story states the specific time skips, it's easy to go with the flow and forget how much time passes. However, once we see people we haven't seen in a while, we are reminded of the flow of time again, how fast it is for them compared to Aesir and us. That is especially evident with Kaiha, Aesir's swordsmanship master. What sets this story apart from Soso no Frieren is that unlike Frieren, Aesir as a previous human knows and is aware of the difference in his sense of the flow of time compared to others, and the risk that comes with that. Still, he does not shy away from engaging with people and truly knowing them, something that Frieren, a normal elf, realizes only after 1,000 years of indifference towards the world around her. However, as much as Himel's death awakens that natural curiosity and desire to know more about others in Frieren, Aesir overlooks carelessness that stems from his willfulness to live among people causes him with a simple promise to put a huge burden, a curse even, the curse of love, on Kaiha, that I might say is the Himmel of this story in regard to importance, resulting in tragic outcomes that impact many lives on different levels. But in that sadness, I find beauty. A story that evokes a mixture of colorful and grey feelings is inevitably going to make me cry, and if I cry, the story is great. Sometimes, profound emotions, even those associated with loss and tragedy, can be a source of depth and richness in life. While Frieren's desire to learn more about other people is only ignited by Himmel's death, Kaiha becomes the reason Aesir starts considering his words carefully, realizing how his interactions with people have great impact on them. Though he stays true to his beliefs and convictions. Once, he says to his son Wyn after bidding farewell to someone close to them, "Cry, cry and cry, but experience joy eclipsing that too, or even anger and frustration. Experience as much as you're able to." And staying true to his words, Aesir too cries, cries and cries, and experiences everything that life has to offer, accepting its ups and downs, and continuing his journey with memories of people he might be the only one alive now who knew them. This story, as I said before, tricks you at the beginning with how cheerful it is, yet you know the sad truth only after a few chapters that sneak under the table with the dark development of events, showing and affirming what kind of a ride this is. All of that, I believe, is to help us, or marinate us actually, to be influenced more by Kaiha. That's why I'm not spoiling much. All in all, nothing would have worked so perfectly in this manga, at least for me and my eyes, if the world building and art weren't so satisfying and complementing to each other and to the story itself. We have a world building that is laid out there slowly when it's relevant to the matter at hand, instead of flooding our brains with pointless information. All of this makes each little trip enjoyable as we discover new places and people, and learn about their relevance to other people and places we came or will come across. The places feel real with how dynamic they are, as much as the people responsible for that feel alive and with a story behind them. And this is shown through a charming art style that fits the vibes of the narrative. I just don't get the feeling in any chapter that the artist half-assed drawing something, especially characters who are the heart of everything as we know. The art just conveys those feelings perfectly, be it wholesome, sad, horrible, or carefree. It's one of the reasons this manga managed to affect me on a deep emotional level. Well, I just want to say now thanks for making it this far. If you like Soso no Frieren, you'd probably like this one too, so give it a try. 5 or 6 chapters are enough to get you hooked, and I needed just 2. One downside is that the manga is on a monthly release schedule sadly. Take it slow and enjoy the journey to the fullest. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're interested in more of this kind of content. See you again when opening another box.